Welcome to Living Well in the summertime. What an exciting time to be alive. The sun's going to go into Leo soon, but we're looking at this lunation, which starts with Sun and Moon in Cancer, July 17th, and we're filming right around then, and there's a lot of shift going on right now, and shifts do happen. So first, the sun goes into Cancer and starts the summer solstice and all that, and it's like, what? A water sign, you know, but the seasons are defined by the midpoint. So the sun is about to move into Leo, and that's high summer. That's what the traditionally is called Lamas or Lunasa. And so it's the summer shift into high summer, fun, creativity, love, all this other stuff. It's already going on. Today I'll be talking about the new moon. Yes, here's my co-star. We'll be talking about the new moon in Cancer and sun going to Leo and all that, and Venus retrograde is going to be my main topic, but I'm going to warm up to that one. And yeah, the other planets, Mars and Virgo, and well, I'm going to be a specialist this time, actually, maybe stimulated by that Mars and Virgo. So I'll just go into it. So Cancer, Sun in Cancer has been going on for about 25 days now, almost a month. And it's a time for lunacy. It's a time for feeling your emotions, and it's a time when the water energy comes bubbling up. And then what happens? Water gets balanced by fire. And so the sun entering Leo, fun and games, high summer, all the recreation that we want to put in it. People associate with that with vacations. They associate with festivals, with love. And so Sun and Mercury moving into Leo, and Venus being in Leo. Mars just went out of Leo. So there's a, yes, isn't that right? So there's a lot of action going on, and a lot of creative action. Breaking it down a little bit, what we're looking at is, well, right here, right now, at the new moon. So Mercury's in square with Jupiter. The squares with Jupiter aspects are always very beneficial. They're always in abundance. So the stress points that happen with the squares being at right angles, cross purposes. Mercury is the mind and communication. Jupiter has to do with how we expand and grow and our opportunities and so forth. And so Mercury square Jupiter is going on for a few days in the teens, the July about 15th through 20th. And you may have noticed that you've been biting off more than you can chew lately, and there's a lot of abundance, but it's sort of like how to integrate that. And that's always the challenge with Jupiter aspects, with Jupiter square, are the stress points of too much of something. So maybe you have a bigger to-do list or a bigger fun list than you can actually cram into a 3D reality. So that's a very temporary situation. And then Mercury will eventually go retrograde, but that's going to be next month's news. Now, also, really, a strong indication right now is that Mars just entered Leo. Sorry, Mars just went out of Leo into Virgo about a week ago. Mars in Virgo is really good for getting stuff done. I always, if I was looking at a resume on a person and I saw Mars in Virgo in their natal chart, it's like, hire that person, because you know that they're motivated to get things done, to do a good job. So in the transits of what's going on now, Mars in Virgo is a time of maximum doing. And so we're seeing the creativity of this time, excuse me, and we're seeing how that motivates us towards more furtherance of the earth plane, more fundamental change, more grounding. So Mars in Virgo is really good for getting a move on and moving things. Maybe a little bit of impatience that goes on with that, and a little bit of kind of feeling a little short of perfection, and yet perfection is always a goal. The main thing I want to talk about today is about Venus. And in astrology, people come to me and they say, what I call an Astro 101 reading. They go, well, I want to know about love, money, and success. So meanwhile, I'm thinking, okay, love, money, and success. Venus is love. Venus has to do with money and earth and material plane and our resources. And Venus has to do with success, because success is an outgrowth of how we gravitate in our social being towards others. That's really important. Mars is how we project forward, the yang energy, the linear, looking out for number one. Venus is how we invite people into our sacred ground. So, of course, there's always a lot of that in, in interactive summertime. And, of course, Venus is always in Leo sometime during the summer, usually for a month. But Venus went to the tail end of Leo, and then right now it's turning around and it's going retrograde until September 3rd about. And then Venus continues to be in Leo for, another month after that. So we're having a whole summer of Venus in Leo. Well, that sounds really fun. That sounds very creative. That sounds very loving. That sounds like a very demonstrative time to be on the planet and celebrate. And hence, got my summer shirt on. And so, but there's a caveat to that. There's a complication, which is that Venus spending more than a month in the sign, well, it implies that Venus is going retrograde. So as we speak, in a couple of days, on July 22nd, Venus will officially go retrograde until September 3rd. Right now, Venus is stationary. So things are changing. So the last few weeks, we've experienced a real opening in terms of opportunities and so forth, and particularly social opportunities and the love medicine that heals and cures us all. But Venus, slows down to a stop, and and then starts moving backwards, which is kind of like the tide going out a little bit. And then, again slows down to a stop again early September and starts moving forward. So there's a lot of people that have a hard time with retrogrades. They assume that that's kind of a time when everything falls apart. No, it's actually a time for integration. So it kind of is falling back into a more solid basis and all that. Venus goes retrograde once every 2 years for about just under 2 months at a shot. Usually it's not the best time for commerce. It's not the best time for reaching out for new relationships and all that. But basically Venus in Leo, it energizes things, and the retrograde is a necessary exhale. The retrograde of any planet is a necessary integration. We, as a lot of us who are viewing this, are Americans, and our society that we grew up in is very much about accomplishment. It's very much growing the economy and becoming more so and really expanding always. But there's it's like breathing. Picture breathing, where there's an expansion and there's a contraction, and that contraction allows us to exhale the past. So Venus retrograde is very much that necessary exhale. It's not a game changer in terms of even like young relationships or whatever, that have been fostered under these other the other aspects, because Venus has been going on in Leo for over a month. So, but what Venus retrograde does is it integrates in a whole different level. So it's sort of like a very powerful foundational level. I personally have 5 retrogrades in my natal chart, so I embrace retrogrades. I find them really, you know, funny, amusing, interesting, because of what happens under it. So Venus retrograde in Leo could mean really dramatic changes in relationships. Now that being said, it also can be like healing and rebound, and people coming out of old relationships or old paradigms in terms of their social energy, and actually letting go of the past and bringing in something new. This is very pertinent because Venus retrograde in traditional astrology is kind of a negative influence, and it means, oh no, everything's falling apart with love, money, and success. Well, no, everything's kind of falling back into a stronger form that's more solid, and will allow us to move forward on a greater basis. So those of you born in, you Leos out there about to have your birthday, and also the other fire signs, will really be feeling that forward momentum, connecting with the broad range of connecting with people far and wide, and connecting with our own internal love medicine, and how that feels with other people. So there's a shifting mechanism now. It's like shuffling the cards. It's like seeing the tide go out a little bit, but then it comes back in a stronger manner. So don't be afraid of the changes that are going on now, because they are very heartfelt. They're very taking us to a much deeper level. So I'm very much encouraged by this, not challenged by the retrograde of Venus or the other retrogrades going on, which is Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto, and so forth. There's a lot of finishing out now. Pluto's at the tail end of a sign. It won't be in Capricorn next year, and for I think 130 years after that. And Neptune in the tail end of Pisces, which is includes all those conspiracy theories and people wanting to